two Syrian refugees, and the police later confirmed that they were all Syrian refugees, started an argument in this nightclub. This nightclub was having like a 90s dance night. These two Syrian refugees started an argument, started provoking and harassing guests. And suddenly, out of nowhere, because Islam is such a tolerant religion of peace, they stood up and started screaming, quote, "We are Arabs, we'll kill you all." That's going to ruin your night, isn't it? So they eventually left the club after the bouncers kicked them out or whatever. But they came back. They came back with reinforcements. They came back with 8 of their friends. So then you had a total of 10 migrants, irate over God knows what, armed with iron bars, armed with knives, shouting, "We're going to kill you," shouting Allah Akbar. We're live. It is the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show on this September 4th edition. Germany is absolutely exploding right now. Protests on the streets of Schmitz and these other countries. Headline just went up on InfoWars Europe. Schmitz locals blast German officials' media at heated town hall. Locals from around Schmitz, Germany, slammed mainstream media and politicians who have smeared anti-mass migration protesters as Nazis and far-right extremists during a heated town hall. They had a small selection, probably a handful of neo-Nazis, show up for one of these protests. And of course, immediately the media pointed the finger and said, "Oh, they're all neo-Nazis. They're all far-right extremists." Angela Merkel, whose approval rating is in the toilet and has been for about a year or more, called them Nazis, basically through her government spokesperson, called them Nazis, called them far-right extremists. You watch the videos out of Schmitz, like this one we're playing right now, and others, they just seem like ordinary people who are concerned about the rise in violent crime, about their daughters, about their wives being harassed in the streets, about what's taking place on, in their neighborhood. They're living amongst it. They know what's happening. This isn't just an excuse for them to express racism. They're seriously furious about the changes in society that this mass migration agenda has had in Germany. The article goes on to say, present at the meeting, which was aired live by NTV, that's a shock that they actually broadcast it, given what's happening with the German media refusing to cover most of this, was Chemnitz Mayor Barbara Ludwig and Saxony's Minister-President Michael Kretschmer. One after another, residents voiced their frustration with the radical transformation of their city by mass migration, the negative effects of which have pushed the citizenry to the boiling point after the death of Daniel Hillig. He was the guy who was stabbed to death by Iraqi and Syrian migrants. That's what touched off the protest in Chemnitz in the first place. He said, "I'm sick of the fact that when Germans dare say a non-German committed a crime, they are immediately condemned as Nazis or right-wing extremists." And that is exactly the smear that we've seen in recent days. They found a handful of Nazis doing Sieg Heils, and then suddenly everyone at this protest, men, women, and children who live there, who experienced this change in society, this violent crime, suddenly they're all neo-Nazis. Well, no, that's smearing ordinary, decent, working-class people who are voicing real concerns about the impact that mass migration has had on their towns. Another example of which is this, top story on Infowars.com, Germany. Syrian refugees attack nightclub, beat guests, shout Allah Akbar. Muslim migrants armed with knives and metal bars attacked a nightclub in Frankfurt while screaming Allah Akbar. And this is what they said, quote, "We are Arabs, we'll kill you all." Literally, that's what they said during this attack. It was an absolute miracle that nobody was seriously injured. Basically, what happened was 2 Syrian refugees, and the police later confirmed that they were all Syrian refugees, started an argument in this nightclub. This nightclub was having like a 90s dance night. These 2 Syrian refugees started an argument, started provoking and harassing guests. And suddenly, out of nowhere, because Islam is such a tolerant religion of peace, they stood up and started screaming, quote, "We are Arabs, we'll kill you all." That's going to ruin your night, isn't it? So they eventually left the club after the bouncers kicked them out or whatever. But they came back. They came back with reinforcements. They came back with 8 of their friends. So then you had a total of 10 migrants, irate over God knows what, armed with iron bars, armed with knives, shouting, "We're going to kill you," shouting Allah Akbar, which even though, who was it, Jake Tapper said was often said in beautiful moments of peace, no, it's normally said right before a terrorist attack. If you've got 10 individuals of Muslim descent shouting Allah Akbar armed with knives and iron bars, might make you a little bit concerned. It's definitely going to ruin your Saturday night, isn't it, at the nightclub? According to the chief prosecutor in the case, guests were then attacked and beaten while the gang threw stones at the building and the victims. They literally tried to stone people, basically. The owner of the club said it was a war scene. We were celebrating the 90s and suddenly we were in a war zone, not in our hometown. It was spooky, but I guess he's a neo-Nazi too for saying that it wasn't like being in his hometown, just like Angela Merkel smeared all those decent, ordinary people in Schmitz for saying very similar things. So this attack continued, literally 10 migrants armed with iron bars and knives attacking this nightclub. Some of the guests at the nightclub attempted to hide under cars while others sought refuge within the nightclub, as the migrants, in some cases, then attempted to stab people, because they're very tolerant and it's religion of peace, you know. The owner said, quote, "It was pure horror, sheer horror. People were hit by stones. It was indiscriminate." He said, "We had to see if there were any dead or seriously injured people," noting that it was unbelievable. Look, nobody was seriously injured. According to the prosecutor, all 10 of the attackers were Syrian refugees. Now, they only were able to arrest 2 of them, the 2 that started the fracas in the first place, because the next day they attacked somebody in the street. Then it turned out that one of the individuals had previously attacked someone back in August with a baseball bat. These are very tolerant, peaceful people. So this story, which should be a nationwide story in Germany, it's leaked. It was reported by one German newspaper. Can you imagine that? In Germany, an attack on a nightclub, people being beaten up. This would be a national story. Can you imagine if a gang of 10 neo-Nazis went to a migrant center and started throwing stones at it, started beating people up with bats, started attempting to stab people as the migrants screamed and ran away in terror, as the white supremacists, did Sieg Heils and chanted pro-Hitler slogans? That would not only be a national news story in Germany, it would be a global news story. We'd never hear the end of it. This was in one newspaper. One newspaper in Germany. This happened over a week ago. Nobody's reporting on it apart from one newspaper, the Morning Post in Berlin. This is the level of control that they have. We've done stories in the past where owners of German broadcast outlets have admitted they don't report on crime stories involving migrants because, quote, they don't want to, rile up resentment amongst right-wing people. So they literally censor the violent crime that's impacting people in these German towns and cities, in Schmitz most recently. They'll cover it up deliberately because they think that that's for the greater good. They literally think that censoring the reality of what's happening in their own country is necessary and virtuous because it won't embolden the right wing. Absolutely despicable behavior. Now, guess how the mayor of this town in Frankfurt, this area of Frankfurt, guess how the mayor responded? She responded by asserting that most of the area's migrants are well-behaved and don't commit crimes. Hashtag not all Muslims. So again, violent crime in Germany has risen. The government's own statistics admit this. They admit that 90% of that violent crime is due to, quote, migrants or refugees. So no, when 10 armed gang members terrorize and viciously beat and attack people in a story that's basically covered up by the media, no, the appropriate response is not to say, oh, but these other migrants didn't do anything. No, this is a problem. Your violent crime rate is exploding. We know why. Talk about it, face it, deal with it. Okay, you can't fix the lack of integration that we're experiencing in European cities by silencing the people who complain about it, by paying them home visits because of their offensive Facebook posts. Because what happens is you get explosions on the streets, you get riots. If people are not having their genuine concerns addressed, then they're going to get more and more furious, and it's going to end up terribly for everyone. Address their concerns, admit you have a problem, and try and do something to fix it, for God's sake. We'll be back. This is the Alex Jones Show live, Infowars.com. Don't go away.
Our team is always looking for new ways to improve our products. That's why we've created the newest version of a fan-favorite formula, the Real Red Pill Plus. The Real Red Pill Plus contains the powerful pregnenolone formula, now with an added energy boost. Now, you can support your heart, brain, and aging process with an added natural energy boost. The proprietary energy blend includes powerful ingredients like green tea extract, yerba mate leaf extract, and more. Paired with the powerful ingredients in the original Real Red Pill formula, the Real Red Pill has just what you need to support your body while getting the pick-me-up to get you through the day. The Real Red Pill Plus is a powerful investment into the future of your mind and body. Don't miss out on the all-new upgrade to your favorite product. Head to InfoWarsStore.com and get the Real Red Pill Plus today. Real Red Pill Plus is on sale now while supplies last.